Welcome back, Falcons! I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited for this new school year. I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about how to set up your gradebook with the 4 categories that we've been asked to use, and then also how to put stuff in through the planner and how to assign homework. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and sign in with Google. I don't know about you, but my homepage always goes to the message center. Not really what I want. What I want to do is click this here file folder and go under instruction, and then we're going to talk about gradebook first. And so that is right here under daily tasks. And then if you notice, I did click the little star so that when I click on my little stars, it shows up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that menu for a quick second because I don't need that guy. So I'm just here in Gradebook, and I'm going to create these 4 categories. They're going to be unit overview, so that parents can see kind of what's going to go on the unit. The unit assessed standards. This is what you taught. It's not going to be calculated in your overall grade. So this is more of to just kind of keep track of what you did and what you talked about and kind of just give you that nice little organization. Then you're going to have the assessment piece like normal, so any test, standards, quiz, whatever you want to call that piece. And then your formative assessment, so homework, classwork, whatever you choose for that. So let's go ahead and create those. First, you click settings here to the left, and then categories. And notice we don't have anything in here, so we're going to go down to the bottom here and click add. And like I said, that first one, unit overview info only. I may or may not have tried this a couple times already before and didn't have audio on, so yay me. So unit overview, info only. This is, again, going on what you plan to teach, going out to parents so we can be transparent about what's kind of going on in our classes. And then you're going to click section, and you're going to click that so it highlights to all. We're going to leave that as a weight of 0 because, again, not going parents, sequence 0. I'm going to exclude from calculation, meaning it's not going to calculate for the overall grade. And then we're going to go based on points. And then we are going to save. So that's our first one. Now we're going to add another one, so still in that categories list. And this is going to be that unit assessed standards. Again, this is more info only. Again, going to all sections, weight of 0, sequence of 0, gonna exclude again, and same idea, points. Save. New category, hit that add again. This is gonna be your assessments, or tests, or whatever you wanna call it. Give it to every section. This is where you're gonna actually start putting in weights. So we're still going 75, 25. If you want to put in more than 75, great. I'm that evil teacher that does 100. So 100% of my students' grades will be based on those assessments. Doesn't matter about sequence. I don't want to exclude. I want to include it, so I'm going to not check it. And again, we're going to go based on points. We have some issues in the higher levels, which is why we don't have rubrics. So everything's going to go in as points, hopefully changing that later, but right now it's going to go as a point. And if you know a default point that you're going to use for your assessments, you can put that in. You can always go back and change it later. Right now, I'm just going to leave it as the standard 100 and call it a day. Save. And then I'm going to add the 4th category, and this is going to be formative assessment. Again, this could be homework, or you could call it classwork, or practice problems, whatever you call it. I'll probably go back to changing mine to practice problems, but this video is more just a how-to anyways, so what I do here probably isn't going to be what I end up doing for the final, meaning formative assessment here. I'll probably call it practice. We're going to, again, click to every. My weight, because my tests are 100%, will be 0, but if you chose a different weight for your test, you need to change this weight. I'm going to, again, exclude from calculation. Don't want that to be factoring in. Again, point, and this is honest. Again, I don't have a default point. If you did, you could put that in here. Maybe do 10 instead of 100. No biggie. Save. All right, so we have done that setting up the categories like you normally would. Now what we're going to do is play around in the planner. And this is where you're going to put in your unit overviews. This is where you're going to put in your homeworks. This is where you're going to put in your tests. So we're going to click that menu again. Click on Main and Planners under Curriculum Planning. Again, I've started so that all I have to do when I log in is click my stars. I'm going to hide the menu because it's going to get in my way. Make sure you have my curriculum highlighted. I was playing around this morning and had a different section highlighted, and I was like, I can't do what's going on. What's wrong? Wasn't really working out for me. So make sure you have that my curriculum. Then what I'm going to recommend is you identify a class that you want to do that has a curriculum guide finished. So I've got my Algebra 2 curriculum guide finished. I also have this Canvas class pulled up. Now, what I'm going to do is reuse basically what I did last year. Yeah, I'm going to tweak some stuff here and there. No big deal. But my basic bulk of my curriculum, I'm just going to reuse. So I'm going to pull up that new Canvas class. I haven't done that yet just because this is more clarification for me. I'll play around with it probably this weekend. And I'm going to make sure that's open because I'm going to end up linking that here into Infinite, again, so that students and parents have access to it. I'm also going to pull up this course guide because I'm lazy and I like copying and pasting. So I'm going to click on my Algebra 2 class, and I am going to click on new curriculum because I'm going to make a new something. Now, just like Canvas, once it's made, I can bring it year to year. So I'm going to create my Unit 1 plan to start with and call it Unit 1 Overview, Equations, and Inequalities. So that's what I'm going to cover first with my students. And that is tied to a.ced.1 for me. Again, copy, paste, oops, wrong button. I can solve equations and inequalities. So what is that going to look like? Students will, and then this is going to be kind of like a sub-bullet. Like, what are your students going to do to prove that they've done this? So for me, they're going to solve multi-step equations. They're going to solve multi-step inequalities. They're going to solve systems of equations. They're going to solve systems of inequalities. And they're going to, because I'm pretty evil, solve 3 systems of equations. And so that's just kind of what those students are going to do. And then I'm going to go back to Canvas, Control-C, copying that link. And then I'm going to go and say all class materials can be found here. I'm going to highlight the word here. Click the link at the top, Control-V, paste that guy in. And now, or yeah, okay, there you go. It does have the open link. I didn't know why it wasn't. Oh, it is blue. Okay. It wasn't looking like a hyperlink for me, so it is. Okay. That way parents and kids can say, oh yeah, here's my class, and if they're enrolled in that class, they should have access to it. If you choose to use Google Classroom, totally fine as well. You can link it. And then if you choose that you're going to do paper, pencil, no biggie too, just make sure you make a note of that you have paper copies that they're going to need. So that's just, again, something to push out for your unit overview. You could, if you wanted to, just also attach everything to Infinite. It's not as neat as Canvas is or Google Classroom, so you can use it, but it's not required. So that's the bulk of this. And then off to the side here, I'm going to make sure this remains visible to class. And then I'm going to pick a rough start date. So I'm going to probably start this unit on the 30th, that first Monday. And it's probably going to take me, I'd say a good month. And I probably might give that test on that Friday. I'm not really sure yet. So I'm going to give it about a month. It's going to go to all of my students. At some point, we'll talk about how you can differentiate. That might be done in the attendance group. maybe, where you can make your own lists of students so that if you know that you're going to assign just certain things to certain students, like maybe for a Transcend class, you can click that there. So for me, because I don't have specific groups created, it's going to go all assigned. We're going to go ahead and turn grading off. I'm not going to turn grading off because this is what I need to talk about Mr. Fleece about. For my category, I'm going to put this as unit info, and then it's not going to have any points anyways. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this. Contains invalid. Oh, okay. So I have a little extra piece that Mrs. Beams turned on for me because we were playing around with stuff. You guys won't have to worry about this. Standard grading tasks, you won't have access to this. Unfortunately, I do because she started linking things for me. So I've got to attach this to my giant anchor. And the reason, the goal is to, I missed it. The goal is to be able to, at the end of a unit or at the end of the year, just look at what all is attached to that grading standard. Now, again, you won't have that availability, unfortunately, because it's not been turned on for you, but she did turn it on for me. So that's why I couldn't save. So now I should be able to save, and dun, 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 dun. It is done. And I have my unit overview. It shows what I'm going to be covering, and I can still hyperlink to my Canvas class. So that's how you do your overview sending out to parents. Talking about our next one that we made, our next category was the unit SS standards, which is this. This is going to be for you guys really only. We won't really get into that right now because we won't have anything. Basically, it's just saying this is for the future, looking at, so when you want to pull up reports of how well everything worked or how much you did or how long it took you to cover the standard or all the material you used, we can just kind of look at all that data all at once instead of trying to really sort through it. And it made it really bulky kind of in JMC, but the goal is to make it more streamlined so we can just pull, okay, all of my first unit of A.CED.1, this is everything that happened, and this is how many formative assessments I used, and this is how many assessments I had, and this is just kind of all the data for that. I'm not going to create anything because I'm not really ready for this because I don't have a start end date. So we'll get more into that later on in the school year. And I'm going to leave because I don't really care about that. All right, the big deal. How do you make homework? Well, again, this is going to be a new curriculum because I don't have anything in there. And I'm going to go ahead and make a formative first. So this is going to be, oh, well, let's see. I'm going to just steal one of my homeworks because maybe we've been working on solving equations for a while and I want to give kind of like a quiz where I just check it, but I'm not really counting it towards their grade. This is going to be their like, okay, are they ready to move on? So I'm going to use maybe this worksheet. So I'm going to say solving multi-step equations, and that's what this got, EQ equations. And then I'm going to say formative assessment piece, just so I kind of can tell what it is. And then I'm going to, because it's in Canvas, I'm just going to maybe copy that link. Again, you don't have to make it super linkable. You can. It's more beneficial. You've already stated technically in your unit plan where everything can be found, but if you're trying to create a rabbit hole of making sure you have everything, it's helpful. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to say that I started this, let's say that Thursday, and then I graded it that Thursday because it was an in-class piece, and I want to see how they did on their own. It's assigned to all students. It is graded. I'm going to put it under my formative, and I say it was worth 100 points, or maybe it was only 25 points. Again, if you know kind of what your standard points are going to be, you can put that in the category, like I said at the beginning. Otherwise, you can just retype it in here. Again, I have to attach it because I have that turned on for me. Otherwise, it won't save. You guys don't have to deal with that. And then I will save. I can also save and add sections, which means that I can add it to any other sections. Like I teach Algebra 2 multiple times a day. You can see that here and here. So I could hit add really quick so that it just straight copies over. I'm not going to do that right now just because, again, playing around. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go back to my planner here. It should have saved, theoretically. I'm going to check my curriculum list. Oh, hey, look, there it is. If you're not sure if something was there, you can do what I just did. And instead of new curriculum, you click on curriculum list. That's where you can go back and edit stuff. You can change those move dates. You can turn things on, turn things off. That's where all that stuff is hiding, is in that curriculum list. And then let's say I'm ready for a test. Same thing. I would put my A. Oop, forgot my caps lock is on. Boom, there's my test title, and I would say formative, oops, sorry, not formative, summative test. I would say what day it was taken, so I'm going to say maybe it was given October 1st, kind of how I was planning maybe. Again, not going to do this ahead of time. It is going to be in my assessments. It is going to count towards that ACED.1. However many points I want to make it. I'm probably not going to link it just because I don't want my kids to see my test, but I could if I wanted to. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. And I have all of those things going on. Now, something that's cool is if I go to my schedule. Actually, you know what? We'll play around with that later. Yeah, we have everything we need in our planner and gradebook. When you go into Gradebook 2, you can't see the assignment I created because today, I mean, it's ahead of what my day is. I can't move my timeline ahead. I'm also not in the right class. So yeah, my test should have shown up here that I made, but it won't, obviously, because I assigned it for not today. And yeah, I can't play around with that, but I could go backwards. So you can also create stuff in the Gradebook too, so you can do your assignments that way. I think it's visually easier to do in the planner, personally. But that's just how you create assignments and tests and all that goodies. So I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you continue to play with Infinite. And as always, if you need help, see me, see Craig, see Sarah. Otherwise, have a great day, guys.